I mentioned my YouTube short and video earlier, 7 days a week, we can have market moving material news. Just last night, I can go ahead and pull it up. It seems that as of even just last night, we ran into some escalations. The U.S. says military personnel killed in Jordan as Iran's leaders issue warning. So, that's not good. The U.S. military said on Saturday 2 of its personnel were killed in Jordan and another were missing after an Iranian attack, while Iran's supreme leader said Washington would pay for seeking to incite war after a 7th straight night of U.S. strikes. 7 nights straight. Okay, the U.S. and Iran have intensified attacks since an interim ceasefire deal signed a month ago fell apart last week, raising the possibility of a return. We were talking about this all week. We kind of, figured it was about 50-50 chance that it happened. But it looks like it landed on that side. So the U.S. Command said deaths of the 2 U.S. personnel occurred on Friday. It said the 3rd U.S. service member was missing in action. Okay, so that's obviously tragic. I'd make a clear disclaimer that the reason I pay attention to news the most, like the biggest reason, is for the market moving material. That's pretty much what we're going to discuss mostly on this channel. I mean, we're going to gasp and look at all the drama together as well, but I always want to tie it back into the market stuff because that's kind of really my big reason for always paying attention to all the headlines, because that really does move markets. Thankfully, this kind of stuff has always lately been seeming to happen like on Friday evenings after the market's closed and for the weekend, So maybe on Monday people will have worked something out. Maybe by Monday things have calmed down. Maybe by Monday all of this rhetoric means nothing. That's a long time from now. Monday. So it could just completely change. We'll have to see. But definitely wouldn't be expecting a green Monday with this news if nothing gets better. Something gets better. Maybe. So now, on Saturday, Iran responding to U.S. attacks on bridges, power facilities, and other infrastructures. Because this is today, on Saturday. Appeared to target Saudi Arabia as well, and other U.S. Gulf allies and Jordan. So one thing that is pretty important here to pay attention to over the weekend, we can look at weekend oil prices. That can be a big deal. Yeah, that's a rather big jump in oil. Let's zoom out just a bit. Oh, that's already zoomed out. That's not good. 415. So this is weekend oil. It doesn't necessarily mean jack, but as you can see, it has been just non-stop on a roll. We talked about that all last week during market hours. Again, we're going to try to just keep it to the news during the weekend, but you know how that goes. I'm actually going to turn on some background music too. Turn on just a little bit of background music. What do you guys want to listen to? Any recommendations? Oh, Patrick Boyle has a new video out. I might watch that. South Korea's market has been collapsing. That's why I want to watch that. It's actually kind of fun to watch. Okay, let me turn up some music. Let's get back to it. Make sure you guys can hear it. Thank you, man. If it doesn't sound right, let me know. Okay, so that's not good. Was that it? In a written statement carried out. So last week, Iran mentioned that if the U.S. did step up attacks on infrastructure, that they would call out to the Houthis to close like the Red Sea routes for oil and stuff. If that happens, that's probably not good for the markets and just general peace. In a written statement carried out by the official social media accounts of Iran's supreme leader and Iranian state media, that guy said repeated U.S. breaches of the interim deal had shown that President Donald Trump's signature was utterly worthless and void of credibility. Yet, now that the American enemy is seeking to escalate the conflict therapy, thereby incurring even heavier costs and further humiliation. You should know that the noble nation of Iran, oh yeah, okay, you're the noble nation for sure, and the resistance front have unforgettable lessons in store for it. Okay? Their leader is still in hiding. I think he's apparently bad wounded or something, like pretty badly wounded. The conflict, which began when the US and Israel launched strikes on Iran at the end of February, actually, didn't they start ramping up toward the end of last year? And then it really started to, maybe it was just rhetoric back then. And then they started bombing it. I remember there were days in the market people were worried about it. In like November and December last year. Okay. Hoping to disable its missile program and its regional proxies has led to a major disruption to energy supplies, fears over global inflation, and battle for control of Strait of Hormuz. So, like, the whole time, I thought Trump has said like 10 billion times that the biggest reason we're over there is to stop their nuclear program. Is that not done? I mean, we've said it was done. They shouldn't have told us it was done if they were trying to hide that it wasn't done. Now it just seems like it's all about, I don't know, moves. What's the reason they can't? I guess it's their deal falling apart, right? But that deal had like a bunch of different tenants or whatever, a bunch of different what's the word? Conditions in it. So I don't know. Seems like the blockade was where their first disagreement was. Then it was maybe the future of their nuclear program. I thought they kind of agreed. I thought it was pretty much almost over. Well, there's never going to be peace in the Middle East as long as governments are still 200 years behind everyone else. And, it'll take a while at least. Okay, on Saturday, Kuwait came under a sustained attack with the armed forces saying they had intercepted Iranian ballistic missiles and drones, and a number of firefighters and oil sector workers had been injured while responding to the attacks. The IRGC had struck a U.S. military support center at Kuwait's camp, Arifjan, and destroyed a radar facility at Ali Al Salam Air Base. Kuwait Petroleum Corporation later said one of its oil facilities had been hit in repeated Iranian attacks. That's not good for oil. You know, I don't make money calls here, but if you weren't long energy, at least for oil, before then, even as just a hedge, I mean, you gotta step it back a little bit. We talked about it all week. Hey, again, by Monday, all this could be past. That's why these things happen on Friday, I think, because they try to give us time to calm down and react and not overreact. As well as in Kuwait, the IRGC targeted a site in Bahrain where U.S. combat aircraft were gathered at Isa Air Base. I'm gonna stop saying it because I could just accidentally swear in a different language. The intelligence data center, Iranian media said. The guards also destroyed at least 2 U.S. fighter aircraft and 3 other aircraft during a missile and drone attack early on Saturday, today, on the U.S. base in Jordan. TV. Reuters cannot independently verify the reports. At least 2 U.S. fighter aircraft and 3 other air. Are we really like losing people over there? Like, that's where I start to say it might not be worth it, because like we kind of, even though they're hanging on, they're pulling every stop they can. They're a huge nation. They're not just gonna fold in a couple months. But I feel like when we got there, we kind of just rolled them over. Like it was what everyone expected. Like we just ran over top of them, took down their airspace. We lost some people, but we killed a bunch of people. We probably lost more than we're being told. But I don't know. It didn't seem like. I don't know. If we're actually just still losing people though, and it is a lot of people, then it's not worth it. We're losing like a lot of people. We already won. So people, all the whole left media, not even on the right or the left, but the whole left media will say we've already lost all this shit. You know, we got ran up. No, we absolutely bombed the shit out of all of them, and instantly took down their air defenses and then bombed their whole country, or at least sections of it, and throughout their whole country, I should say. And I don't know. Now, I'm not defending the US, I'm not attacking Iran when I say that. I'm only here for the news and for the market moving material. I'm trying to collect my data and paint up the picture that I talk about on stream all the time. As a data scientist, it's just one more stroke of data, that's one more piece of paint. Stroke of paint? I just said that so fucking backward. Might be dyslexic, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, you have a picture once you have a bunch of data. And if that picture looks like we're about to be at war with Iran for a long time, or if we're about to like put boots on the ground, I don't think we're going to do. I think the odds are that we don't. I'm not gonna say we wouldn't. And that's just what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the escalation. That's just gonna provoke responses. There's just so much going on. Okay, well, let's see here. U.S. airstrikes early on Saturday killed 3 people and wounded 8 others in the southern Hormozgan province, which borders the Strait of Hormuz, while 2 bridges and a road tunnel damaged, Iranian state TV. The U.S. carried out further airstrikes in the same province on Saturday afternoon, semi-official Fars news agency said, quoting authorities. But there were no reports of civilian casualties. Iran's health ministry said on Saturday that 50 people have been killed and more than 500 injured in U.S. strikes over the country over the last 3 weeks. Okay, well, at least it's not as bad as like Ukraine and Russia's death tolls. That's been a bloodbath, like thousands, right? Thousands a month. I think it was thousands a week for a bit there. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail accused the U.S. of seeking control over the Strait of Hormuz. I think that's kind of why we're still hanging out so much over there. I think that's the biggest reason. But I don't know how we're gonna like take their hand away from it. It's right on their border. I mean, we'd have to have help from other nations. Even then, what if like for the next 50 years, every month or so, a ship gets attacked and a bunch of people die because they're right there. They can't just stop them forever. It's not like we're gonna just eliminate Iran from existence. Okay, that's not what we're gonna do. I hope not. He's threatened to wipe out the whole civilization, but I would hope not. Okay, both sides have taken aim at shipping traffic, with the U.S. saying it is enforcing a naval blockade and Iran saying it targets vessels violating the rules. So they're both saying the same shit. They just want to use their weapons. A merchant vessel and military forces were involved in an incident off Oman. Oil prices rose more than 4% on Friday to test their highest levels in a month. Wow. That's it. I mean, we saw just now the oil prices over the weekend. Went up to about, 4%. I thought it was like high 3s or 4%. Uh-oh. See right here that there's a solid little dip. 10 minutes. Might have been some news. All this could be absolutely blown over by Monday. You can see someone saying, hey, they're about to talk peace. Maybe they have peace talks coming. And that's that. Now, thankfully, that's not to make. Okay, let me rephrase that. If you pay attention in my during my streams that revolve around trading and the parts of the finance sections of the stream, You never want to just put all of your eggs into one basket. The point of hedging, which is what options were originally for, believe it or not, the point of hedging is to protect yourself and extend your ability to trade, to invest. So if things don't go your way, you're not just ass out. What hedging does, the negative side of hedging, is if you were right in the first place and you got that hedge for nothing, just to protect yourself, then what you've done is you've taken away from like your max win. Your max. Casino sounding when I say it like that, but that is what it is. It takes away from your max profit. You would make whatever profit that was when you finally sell your option that did well, and then you would have to subtract what you spent for the other leg for the hedge. And so you see oil actually making a stall a little tumble right here. Could be some news that something good has happened, or it could simply be, when I say good, I mean good for the markets. So never put all your eggs into one basket. The worst thing for an options trader is a stagnant market. So when nothing happens. That's why I don't trade every day, because some days nothing happens. Lately, the last few years, it seems like something happens almost every day. And I kind of like that, but you gotta prepare for it. And so, when oil, let's just hypothetically say you expected some kind of good news or some kind of bad news over this weekend, which that's pretty much what I expected, one or the other. I said it was about 50-50. If it's good news, you should be prepared for that. You should have I could tell you what to buy or what to sell. I would never do that. You could expect, I'll say it like this. You could expect your high risk picks on your own watch list. Okay. Those could have a good day Monday if for some reason the war has a pause, or even just doesn't go too negative, because sometimes there'll be a news that we bombed them last night and then the market goes up because it wasn't really, maybe it was just a little province or a few people died, as crappy as that sounds for me to say, but market moving stuff. If it's a bomb on like a huge oil refinery, okay, oil is going to go up. Take a little spike up right there. Could just be someone taking profit, but that did have a nice like 100-point fall. Maybe like 50 points. Anyway, the first thing that can happen is something stays stagnant, because that means if you had a call option on something you expected to go up and it didn't go up, well, that's going to theta decay. It might not wipe you out if it stays stagnant right away, as long as it's not like a one day to expire option or something. Don't do things. But you will also lose as time goes on, and that theta decay does wear down your call. It's staying stagnant, not gaining value, and losing value because of theta. Your put's also going to be losing value to theta, not going down either. So you lose both ways if something's stagnant. Now there's ways to make money in that environment. It involves selling options to people. So we are buying and then selling to close options, but we buy one to open from somebody and then we sell it to close. They are selling it to open. So they are writing the option. It's usually like hedge funds. People can do it too. Some people can do it naked, is what they call it, if you don't own the underlying. An option is, it requires 100 shares of the underlying, right? So that's what it is all about. You're paying a premium to be able to pay it at your strike price. You pay your strike price per share of 100 shares of that company. So long story short, this weekend is not supposed to be financed. That's just how it ended up. Darn it.